into his brain. Welcome into his frequency. Enter at your own risk. Come be at peace with me. Ask the Paul, where we rise and don't fall.
Welcome back to another episode of Baxter's Buzz. I am your host, Baxter E. Hall. Welcome to my brain. Welcome to my frequency. Enter at your own risk. Today, I have a special guest with me. She is the founder and CEO of Tried and True Financial. She's an enrolled agent, a financial strategist, helping business owners gain clarity in one of the most important aspects of their business. She's also the author of Bookkeeping for Business Owners, Gaining Clarity and Confidence Without the Overwhelm. Valise Smith, welcome to Baxter's Buzz.
Thank you so much for having me today, Baxter. I'm looking forward to getting into this dialogue with you.
No, we met um not too long ago and hit it off, and you were telling me about the book that was coming.
Mhm.
You were talking about your business and sort of how you got into it, and I thought it would be a great story to share with others. So, let's start with the tried and true and kind of what birthed the business that you founded.
Yeah, so when I was growing up, I never thought of being an entrepreneur. In fact, I really didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. So I took every personality test that you can imagine, and they all pointed to numbers, structures, and solving problems. I was taught to go to school, get good grades, and get a good job. And so that's what I did. And I started my major in accounting, and then I switched to finance. And so I've been in the financial services industry for nearly 30 years, starting out as a bank teller and moving on up to my dream job at an investment advisory firm where I held C-suite positions, managing their back office operations for a book of business in excess of $1 billion.
Wow.
And because of the work that I was doing there, doing their portfolio reconciliations, and I also throughout that time had gone back to school to learn more about financials literacy in so many different capacities. I studied for the CFP program, and I found during that program a love for the tax aspect of things. And so taxes was just something that I did for myself and for my family members. But when that investment advisory firm that I was working for ended up having to close its doors, I decided to marry the skill sets that I had with the income tax preparation and the portfolio reconciliations that I was doing with that firm. And I launched Tried and True Financial Services in 2015 because I couldn't see myself going out there brushing up my resume to get a good job, to get another job. So I just kind of jumped out there and started my own firm.
Yeah. So over 10 years ago now, yes, the entrepreneur journey is different. Would you say that this is now your dream job? Are you doing all like you can't get away from some of the things that we don't love as much, right? This just comes with the territory. But overall, are you able to sort of scratch that itch that you had, marry those pieces of the business, and help people in the way that you envisioned when you started in 2015?
I think it's evolved over time, but ultimately, my passion and even something that was burning on the inside of me as a young girl, being so good with numbers, I definitely believe that I'm in my zone of genius. When asked, if money wasn't an option, what would you do? I would still do this type of work. I really enjoy helping people. I say all the time, I have a gift and a talent in a space that many people would rather avoid. People don't like talking about taxes. They don't want to pay their taxes. They don't want to file their taxes. I've even found throughout my entrepreneurial journey that business owners don't like talking about their finances, period. They are passionate and knowledgeable about what it is they do, and if finances is not their thing. Even some of them, if they do have a finance background, they still don't like doing the numbers part of their business. So I truly love and enjoy partnering with entrepreneurs who are ready to take control of their finances, and they're looking for somebody to partner with them to make it easier and to remove that stress.
Yeah, I love that. I think about how personal finances are. Um, I think about the types of information you have to divulge to from a financial standpoint. It's similar or maybe even more difficult for some people than like talking to a therapist, you
Or a
know,
doctor.
or a doctor, right? Yeah, when it's like I can't properly help you unless I know all the things, right?
Absolutely.
And talking to a therapist or even a physician, you may be able to still withhold some information. Your finances are your finances, right? It's kind of all out there.
Yeah, you really have to get vulnerable, right? And really just open. And people like holding their purses close to them. They don't want people to know that they don't have it all together when it comes to their finances. And so I always like to take a very humanistic approach to people when I meet with them. I come as my authentic self. I'm not trying to be the most like I'm professional. I'm a professional at heart, right? But I still try to relax a little bit and kind of just meet them where they're at, let them know that I'm a human person. I get it. This is a no judgment zone. Like I don't even, I'm not looking at your situation and judging you, but I'm looking at the numbers as they are and looking for ways and opportunities to help you. I'm here to help you. I'm not here to judge you. And so I often have to remind my clients of that and letting them know that their information that they're sharing with me is strictly confidential. Like I'm not going to be out talking about their business with somebody else, about what kind of financial situation they're in.
You may have a new client after this conversation. Yeah, I'm convinced, and I believe that. And we were joking a little bit off air just about just how casual we could be. Like I'm in my hoodie today. It doesn't make me any less like my shirt and tie doesn't like give me experiences that I take off when I take it off. You know what I mean? Like we still are who we are, and I
Absolutely.
think that personal touch. I think folks are most of the time, or even in the financial field. Do you uh have you learned that folks are just tired of everyone being so buttoned up and so like robotic?
Absolutely. And I believe that unfortunately there were some pros and cons that came out of COVID. But during that time, I think people became a lot more relaxed. And I believe that people truly embraced that even after that, when we came off the cusp of it, that we were not going back to the way things were. This was what I would always say. We've experienced a new normal.
Yeah,
Right. And so being relaxed, being able to meet virtually, being able to have meet at a coffee shop, not necessarily being required to have a brick and mortar to position yourself as a professional. That brick and mortar doesn't define who I am, the knowledge I bring, the experience that I have, and what I can do to help be a blessing to you and managing your finances better.
that's right. That's right. There were just a lot of just the thoughts that came with okay, this particular building, this particular, what it says to me is the experience, the education a lot of people may have, but the demeanor, when you're talking about things that are personal or when like in my space, in the insurance space, the benefits that folks pay, the second largest line item outside of salaries, right? And you want to feel comfortable with that person,
Yeah.
and that people that are handling that. And those are the things, those small things that differentiate us from the folks that are in our space, right?
Hmm.
How have you been able to, um, in this virtual world, how have you been able to maneuver and position yourself and differentiate yourself from other folks that are in your line of work?
Yeah, well, I think, like I said earlier, one of the main things I think that sets me apart is that I show up as my authentic self. I like to joke, I like to laugh, I like to lighten the air. And there's this misconception in the accounting industry, and it's been a long held thing, but we're breaking that. We're creating some new normals even in the accounting industry. But accounting is not boring. Accountants are not boring. I'm a
What?
buyer chick, you know what I'm saying? And I like to even show that a little bit on my social media or on my websites or talk about things like I think that's in my even in some of my bios that I share just to let people know that I'm a normal person. I'm not stuffy. I'm not a nerd. I'm not saying anything is wrong with being a nerd. Nerds are smart, right? But I'm not that person. I'm a real person who has knowledge and a skill set that can be a blessing to you, that can help take a little bit of the burden and the stress off of your shoulders so that you're not carrying that around and that you can truly flow in your gifting because this is my lane.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. You having hobbies, whether it's biking or whatever, outside of work, is more realistic than someone buttoned up from top to bottom. Like you think people like these people are going to the beach like that? You think these people are going on vacation like no, like we all have different sides of us,
Absolutely.
and it's important that we share that. And I'm a big believer in the importance of authenticity, and I know everybody won't love me or identify with what I do or how but that's okay. I can get to my ideal partners, my ideal clients, my ideal vendors more quickly when people know kind of who they're dealing with. So you should show different sides of yourself, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, let's talk about this book.
Okay.
Um, Bookkeeping for business owners. Let's see, which you got where is it? All right, bookkeeping for business owners. Uh,
Yes.
Gaining
Gaining.
clarity and confidence without the overwhelm. How did that book come to life? What was your thinking prior to starting to write it?
Well, the reason why I wrote this book is because in practice, in real life, what I began to see when I was working with small business owners is that this was a missing link across the board, whether we're talking about startups or established businesses earning 6 and 7 figures. This is the missing link. A lot of people feel like they can run their businesses, they can manage their businesses off of their bank statements. And it's just not true. It's just not a best practice. If you don't have a bookkeeping system in place to track your income and expenses, to produce those critical financial statements that you need to get lending, to leverage other people's money, to obtain certifications, to make strategic financial decisions, even part of your exit plan. If you desire to sell your business, they're going to ask for your financials and they don't want your spreadsheets. They don't want your notepads. They don't want these things. You need to be able to produce a profit and loss statement, a balance sheet, and a cash flow statement. Those are the three critical financial statements. And I see all the time people skip over this step. Sometimes because it's overwhelming and
Mhm.
they open up that software and they see all of these widgets, they see all these charts and graphs and numbers and they're like, "Wow," and they freeze. And what does a confused mind do? Nothing.
Shut down. Yeah.
They ignore it and they move on to the next order of business. I'll get back to it. And
Yeah.
then by the time you look up, it's time to file your taxes. And then you file your taxes and realize all of these missed opportunities. And now
Mhm.
it's too late.
Yeah. Yeah. So what is the book? What is the book? Who's the book for, and what is it? What part of that is it helping to simplify for people?
Absolutely. So the book is for business owners, all business owners, right? So whether you're a business owner who have decided to DIY it and you're doing your own books, or even if you've delegated, because I tell business owners all the time, do what you do best and delegate the rest. But even if you're a business owner that have decided to delegate your bookkeeping function to someone else, you still need to know what's going on.
Yeah.
You can't just pass it on and drop it in somebody else's lap and you like, I don't want to think about it. No, you have to know. Think about people that go on programs like Shark Tank and they're looking for crowdfunding or investors to buy into their business. Those people know their numbers in and out.
Yeah.
So as a business owner, as a CEO, as a founder of the business, it is your responsibility, not your option, not your it is your responsibility to know your numbers. And so this book breaks it down in very simple terms. I One of the frameworks that I operate in through my business is the ABCs of finance.
Mm.
The ABCs of finance, I use that framework because I want to immediately send the message that this can be as simple as ABCs when you partner with someone who can hold your hand and walk alongside you, right? And
Yeah.
so outside of the ABCs of finance framework, there's some other frameworks that I put in this book. I love the number three for a lot of different reasons, but another one of my frameworks is financial CPR. And that dropped in my spirit while I
Mm.
was writing the book because, again, I like doing things in three. So I tell my clients when you log into your accounting system, don't look at all the things. Don't even try to figure out what all of those widgets, what all of those charts, what all of those graphs mean. I want you to focus on three things, and that is to categorize your transactions, post your transactions, and then reconcile your transactions.
Mm.
And as I was writing the book, I was like, hey, that's CPR. We need to use
Uh,
this as an opportunity to help set it. People know what CPR is.
yeah.
This is financial, this is the lifeblood of your business. These are three simple steps that if you do on a monthly base, you go in and you do your financial CPR, you're that much further along because there's a misconception. A lot of people think that, okay, I'll go out and I'll purchase the accounting system. I'll go ahead and connect my accounts and then I'll go ahead and they'll do the categorize and post, but they all oftentimes miss that third step, the reconciliation step.
Mm. Mm.
And so they're running their financial statements. And when they look at the statement, they're like, something's not right. This
Yeah.
doesn't look right, even to them. And it's because of that last step. And so I use that financial CPR as a framework to help them make it easy. All you got to think about is those three things when you go in, and I can show you, and I talk about that in this book. That's one of the other things I talk about in this book.
I love that. I
Yeah,
love that. CPR. Um, yes, we I tell the kids all the time, and I was like, I say, how do you eat an elephant? And they are like, what? And it's one bite at a time, right? We have to make sure that we're doing our best to simplify these things to make them more manageable and that we can get
absolutely.
our heads around. Because yeah, we can get overwhelmed with those widgets, with those numbers. What does that mean? And yeah, we prolong it until we developed some really bad habits and some bad business practices, right? And if you are growing in the way that you want to grow as an entrepreneur and business owner, and you don't have your finances together, you're going to be in a world of trouble.
You're creating problems behind the scenes that you're ignoring and sweeping under the rug. And it's not going to make it go away. It's just going to make it grow.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so where can folks find the book, Valise?
The book, you can find the book on my website at triedandtruefs.com. It's up on the website in the shop section, and the book is also available on Amazon.
Cool. Can we see it one more time?
Yay!
Yes. Congratulations.
Thank you.
This is a big deal. And anyone that's, you know, bridging that gap and helping business owners. Yep, you had it. There we go. Whenever you can bridge that gap and simplify things for folks, it doesn't keep them from needing a bookkeeper or an advisor. But what it does is it helps you understand the importance of one, because it's not like it's like a maintenance type of thing, right? If you don't know anything, again, you're trying to ignore it. Ignorance is bliss. But the more you learn about it, you go, oh gosh, I do need somebody in this space that really knows what the heck that they're doing. You can't be completely ignorant to it, but the more you're exposed to, the more you value people such as yourself that can help lead them and guide them in the right direction.
Absolutely. And I've had people tell me that in times past, they've consulted with me. I told them what my fees were, and secretly they went back and tried to take a tax course or tried to take a bookkeeping course. And then they were honest enough to come back and say, well, you know what? I did this. I went and tried to take this course, and I really have a deeper and better appreciation for the work that you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's not easy. It is complex, but that's one of the things and that's one of the blessings that I have, that I'm able to take complex concepts and make them simple.
Yeah. All right. Well, I just want to say thanks again for joining me. Congratulations
Thank you.
to you and kudos for writing the book. I need to get my copy, so we need to figure that out. And on behalf of Valise, I just want to let everyone know that's listening to this or watching this that you are all capable. You just need to embrace your own frequency. Um, Valise, again, the founder and CEO of Tried and True Financial. Um, Thanks again for joining me, and hopefully you can come back and we can chat a little bit more about some finances.
I love to. I love it.
Okay, cool. Well,
Thanks
thanks
for having
again,
me.
and to everyone out there, we'll see you soon. Peace.
Welcome into his brain. Welcome into his frequency. Enter at your own risk. Come be at peace with me.
Thank you so much for watching this video. If you haven't already, please hit the like button. Please subscribe, share, and also hit that notification button as well. Thank you so much.
Financial literacy to authentic black history. This real rap.